Madeline ran to me crying. She was 15. The small child had grown into a fair young lady. The crystal tears fell from her wide eyes. I wanted to comfort her, but I could only do so much as I wasn't human. Even if I shook my leaves off, would she realize it was my way of stroking her head? She was hugging a book. It wasn't the worn-out Oliver Twist. It was a brand new one. Madeline had told me in between her sobbing that someone had given her that book. She didn't reveal the identity of the benefactor. She fell asleep after crying her eyes out. The next day, Madeline brought the same book from yesterday. She was stuck on the same page, the first page. In the end, she relied her head on my trunk and closed her eyes. "You would mess with your hair, and Mrs. Wilson would scold you," I wanted to say, but couldn't. Madeline finally broached the topic that had made me curious yesterday.
Mrs. Wilson introduced me to Mr. Anderson from the West as my betrothed. His family is affluent, and his business is going well. Miss Agnes said that this is my chance to escape poverty. Mrs. Wilson said I should be grateful that a man would want to wed me.
My heart ached. How could that notion never pass my mind? I naively held on to the belief that I could watch over her until the end of her lifespan. Even though I was well aware of her blossoming beauty, how could I not consider suitors asking for her hand in marriage? She had come to a marriageable age. Not to mention, Mrs. Wilson would jump at the chance of sending Madeline away to ease the burden. Mrs. Wilson's plan to shut down the orphanage was getting more mature. The older girls had been wedded. The older boys were working to aid the orphanage financial needs for the time being. Madeline speculated that the boys would be sent to the city to live independently, where they could stand on their own 2 feet, or be wedded with girls from wealthy families. Madeline lifted her chin and said,
Miss Agnes believes that Mr. Anderson is a gentleman. It is true. I can see that he's an amiable man. But, Mr. Tree, if I get married, I have to leave Sunderland. What should I do?
I wanted to hug her, but the boundary between us was too great. That's when I prayed to the universe. That was the only thing I wished. I wanted to be able to soothe Madeline, at least for the remaining of her time in the orphanage. The dawn after my desperate wish, a miracle happened. I opened my eyes and found myself in the body of a young male human. As I was waiting for morning to come, I inspected every inch of my current body. Would I be human forever? This had been the first time I transformed into a human, so I didn't quite understand how it worked. When Madeline came, she immediately came to the tree. Only then that I realized that the big tree was suffering. The leaves were dry and brownish. They were falling unnaturally. The branches were shrunk and broken. She touched the cracks on the trunk, staring with deep empathy.
Oh no, Mr. Tree! What happened? Are you sad because I'm leaving? I'll turn down the proposal. I won't leave you, Mr. Tree.
No, that won't do. Declining the marriage offer from a good gentleman would be a huge loss for Madeline. This was her chance to escape her current hardships. I couldn't possibly hinder her from grabbing a better future. Marriages based on love had become more common over this period, but the Great Depression had crippled the idealistic view. Madeline was inferior in terms of education compared to other young women. It would be hard for her to compete with more educated women. Since Mr. Anderson seemed to have a stable business, he could provide for her. Agnes also vouched for his benign temperament, while Mrs. Wilson only saw this marriage as a means to ease her financial burden. I was confident that Mr. Anderson was a good catch that wouldn't appear often in Madeline's life.
Do you fancy Mr. Anderson?
I asked. She was surprised to see me.
Are you Mr. Anderson's acquaintance?
I'm not, but I've heard the news. Are you going to marry him?
Madeline folded her legs and hugged them. She hid the lower half of her face and shook her head slowly. The wind was unusually gusty. Her unbraided hair hovered in the air. I took a seat and leaned on the tree trunk.
You look sad.
I don't want to leave Sunderland.
She muttered. She turned around and touched the trunk of my tree body.
Mr. Tree has always been my hero. He's always there for me. When I'm sad, when I'm happy, even when I feel trapped, I'm not lonely.
My tree body had started to rot. I noticed that the longer my soul was in this human body, the worse my tree body became. But a greedy notion passed my mind. If I stayed human forever, could I take better care of her? Madeline pressed her forehead on the tree. She caressed the tree's cracked skin.
Mr. Tree, are you hurting?
Madeline's genuine concern put me to shame. She was worried about me, and I could think about was my selfishness. Even if I lived as a human, I didn't have a job to fill her stomach. I didn't have a house that could protect her from storms and heat.
Madeline, are you happy?
She drew a weak but sincere smile.
I am. Are you?
For a moment, I was at a loss. I had never asked myself that question. Was happiness something a tree could feel? But my stomach churned now. Was this the happiness that humans were desperate to gain?
I guess.
I said, then proceeded with another question.
Will you keep on being happy in the future?
Her blue eyes glistened with welling tears. For years, the view I had of this woman was her head. I had watched over her from above her, shielding her from the blazing sun. I only realized now how beautiful the color of her eyes was. Blue, like the sky. When she wasn't around anymore, I could look up and the bright day sky would ease my pain of missing her. I determined not to reveal my true identity to Madeline as I said my final goodbye. Madeline got up and spread both of her arms.
Can I hug you?
Of course.
This human body was far smaller than my tree body, and I could return her warmth easily with my large palms. I tightened my embrace around her. Ah, Madeline, what would I do without you?
What about you? Will you keep on being happy, Mr. Tree?
What?
I was so surprised that I immediately let go of her.
I knew it was you.
She wiped the tears from her cheeks. She was amused by my reaction.
You exude the same tenderness and comfort. You knew about Mr. Anderson. Also, I've never told you my name.
I could only laugh as I scratched my head awkwardly. The cat was out of the bag.
Be happy, Madeline. Build your own happiness with him.
I promise I'll be happier too.
Do you know, Mr. Tree? You have pretty eyes. Hazel. A mixture of green and brown. It suits you. I think I won't be able to forget your eyes even when I get old.
I also won't forget you. The beautiful memory we have would stay in my heart forever.
Immediately after I said that, my human body felt numb. I leaned on the decaying tree while a sense of fatigue swarmed throughout my body. Madeline helped me up. Her face was soaked in tears, but the sweet smile remained.
You have to return, Mr. Tree.
As soon as my heart completely let go, my human body disappeared into dust before Madeline's eyes. She spent the night out under the tree. She fell asleep while telling me countless scenarios of her possible future. Mr. Anderson ran from the car to fetch his bride-to-be. Sweat dripped from every inch of his body. Yes, this was enough. This confirmed his affection for Madeline. If it was Mr. Anderson, he must have treated her well. We parted ways after one last one-sided embrace. The last sight of her in my memory was her tears of both loss and hope. That was when I finally realized I had fallen in love with her.